Hey guys, so I wanted to tell you about a little, about how my evening went. I've been hurting pretty much all day, and I'm glad I got this neck surgery scheduled. If you haven't been watching my videos, I've had surgery after surgery. And if you look up my stimulator video, it'll show you or tell you in that. I've actually gone over that quite a few times, so I'll let you go to that video if you want to watch it. But it's getting removed, and it's correct. I'm getting it removed and having a fusion redone that failed because of the stimulator cord. Go watch that video. Don't let that scare you. But anyways, I've been in bed most of the day other than videos that I've tried to post because this is, excuse me. I gotta get myself comfortable. Making videos public like this is what I have, as I don't have the means or ability to get out and be that active. So make myself presentable if I feel like it. My idea is to be raw, but I don't want that to be the only side that you guys see. And that is truly what my videos are after. But anyways, so I was in bed most of the day, and I was hurting from shoulders down because that's where the problems are. They're all the way up my neck now, and I was in quite a bit of pain. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get up and do. And I have had family members reach out to me because, again, I take to cross stitching as my hobby aside of this. And so I've gotten good with the needle, and I was asked to come help repair a piece of equipment that, needs the seat stitched up a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. Well, this person went and got, heavy duty thread and heavy duty needles so that I could. And I also went to the store to go get some reflective tape, but couldn't find what I was after. Well, during my search, I got some help, and I interacted with an employee who, God, this breaks my heart, who is now a chronic pain patient, still a child, technically, still a young, probably late teens, early 20s, that had a sports injury, and that just breaks my heart. I would not wish this on anybody. But anyways, we got into conversation, and it was just a pretty cool situation, and it wouldn't have happened had I not gotten out. In addition to that, after I found what I was looking for, went to the family member's house and started stitching up this item, and as I'm working, this person, talks probably more than I do, which is saying a lot because I am a talker. And it was just a beautiful experience overall. And the only reason that we stopped was because the mosquitoes were starting to, we were in a swarm of them, and I noticed this. So I did mention something. But that again goes on, it is a fact that when we do something that makes us happy, in that moment of pain, we don't want to get up. All we want to do is lay there and cry. But do your best to fight it, and find that distraction, because it is true that the chemical dopamine will actually help you fight, and it gives you that same pain relief that opiates do. And getting your mind off of it does help. Versus if you sit there and, obviously if a pain level gets too severe, you can't do that, and that's okay. But when we do things that make us happy, that chemical dopamine gets released, and it does the same thing as opiates. And there's so many opportunities that you could miss out on if you don't get up and try. Can you last all day? Probably not. If you're working, good job. Good job. I can't express that enough. And obviously, if you are working, I can truly understand that may be all you can do, but you still need to find that purpose. You have to create it. You have to make it important to you. Again, going this public is not something I wanted to do. I've been trying to figure out how to be an advocate for years, but this is what I got. Obviously, since I'm not working, I'm on limited income, and that makes it hard with the gas, my physical ability. Sometimes if my symptoms pick up, I should not be driving, so I don't. And it makes it harder to do. So when you can, make the most of it, make the most of it, and make it a priority to get out. And it will take practice, it really will. But, for example, a few weekends ago, we went to a carnival that was a day trip for us. And had I not gotten out, that kid that was blind and autistic would have not get to have his first experience petting a dog. So you do get those opportunities if you get out. So I did want to express that, and just the beauty in it, and using your circumstances, your unfortunate circumstances, as fuel to help brighten another person's day. Okay, so keep up the good work. Okay, the fight's not over, not by a long shot, but you can make it a better situation for yourself, and you can find your spot and your happiness, but you have to create it. Okay, that is the key. You have to get out there and create it. Find something that means something to you, and then make a way for it to happen. Make it a priority. Okay, not only is it going to help you feel better, but it's also going to make you feel better physically, but it's also going to make you feel better mentally. And as we all know, depression comes on pretty strong. And, I did face a day where I was ready to pull the trigger. And I promise you, it is not worth it at all. Now, some people would say, okay, but it's selfish to want your family member and or friend to continue suffering in the chronic pain. But at the same time, if you do attempt and you're successful, your family is going to have to live with that for the rest of their life. And there may be something where something coming up that you just haven't gotten there yet. And the only thing suicide guarantees is that it can't get better. Now, on another note, if you attempt but you fail, that's going to put a label on you, and that's not a label you want. It is going to make it harder for you to get opiates and or the treatment that you do need. And in addition to that, our technology is growing every day, and they may come up with something that could end your pain for you. Okay, I will say, and this is another video, so I won't make this very long, but my faith and my love for my closest friends and family, and all of my friends and family, is what is the reason I'm still here today. If I did pull the trigger when I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to be that light that others may be needing. Okay, so again, create your purpose. Figure out what it is that you want. And honestly, I would love to see more chronic pain patients encouraging others to get through their roughest days. And if you wake up one day and you've only got 10%, but you give all of that 10%, good job. Good job. Yeah, it can be hard getting out of bed. It can be hard, okay, all I'm doing is going to the recliner. I used to work. This actually started when I was in my last class of my MBA. Yeah, I finally got there, and bam, it all got ripped out from underneath me. I still don't like being at home. I hate it with a passion. But at the same time, I'm able to use my knowledge and my experience to shine a light for others. But I'm not a loud voice. I'm not big enough. I really don't want the publicity. But if my videos even help that one person, then that's all I care about. If you had a rough night and you don't work, don't worry about it. Sleep when you can. Okay? I am one that my schedule is my own. And if I have a rough night, I don't worry about keeping a schedule. It's not pertinent to me. If I have obligations, as long as I'm awake when those obligations are made, then okay. Okay. And also remember, you have the people around you. You're not that bad. You don't hurt that bad. You're just milking it. Well, here's the beauty. You don't need to jade. Jade. Justify, argue, defend, or explain. The only people that you owe an explanation to are your doctors and or caretakers. One of the things and responses that I have learned to say when I get, you're just milking your pain or using your back to get out of what you don't want to do. The only thing I say is, I wish you were right, because I do. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that has that thought. So say it, be real. In addition to that, when we do go out, and I know that there's probably going to be a seat that I can't sit in comfortably, I'll take a sweater or 2 or 3, or even just a pillow, just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to use your tools so you can get through times like that. Okay? Like, I'm limited, and I wasn't a shopper before I got hurt, and I'm not one now. And I will agree that there are some stores, they do have carts, and they're doing their best to help, but they hurt worse. But I'm the kind where I would rather just get out, get what I'm after, be done, and go do something else. That's what I'd rather do. So that's what I do. So I don't use the carts unless I absolutely have to. And that is because most of them hurt worse than just walking. And obviously I can't get a lot because I can't push the heavy carts. But again, attitude makes all the difference in the world. This was stated in another video, so sorry if I'm saying it again, but I did not state it before on this video. I am repeating it to make sure that it gets to the majority of the people who need it. But where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. Attitude. Attitude makes all the difference in the world. None of us can get through this without help. None of us can get through this crazy life without help. Even a working person can't get through this without help. Okay? So don't be afraid to ask. But also, you need to be willing to show gratitude and try to give back to the people who do try to help you in a way that you can. For example, there was a couple that helped me and my husband in a way I never expected, and I'm still overwhelmed by that. Well, I couldn't get back to them in the way that I really wanted to. So what I did instead was I reached out to external sources to see if I could get help getting donations of product to help them in their mission. I got a response, but not like I wanted to, so I reached out to another, and it was almost overwhelming. So try to get back in a way that you can. If you do have skills, like, my field was working on the computer, and I know when to spot spam, and I do have a video on that. It's not foolproof, but it does help. And I also know when to see when it's like, say, an IT issue. Well, I had another group of family that did reach out to me to get help on something that they've been trying for months to do. I went over and I actually had fun with it. And it was actually just days before my last surgery. And I was hurting, but in that moment, my pain was gone, okay? Because it was a distraction. You look for distractions. There's times I'll invite family over for dinner, or I'll go to them for dinner, okay? Try to find whatever you can. But in that moment, it took them a few months to just keep getting the runaround. Took me 2 sessions of 2 hours. And not only did it distract me from my pain, but it gave me peace in something that I have been struggling with all my life. I will post a video on that later, but not for this one. Most of my videos are there to encourage the chronic pain patient who is struggling in the middle of the night, as that when, or any time for that matter, as the enemy in my faith, which is Christianity, does tend to attack us more at night and when we're tired, and it will make the darkness in our lives so much more than what it really is, okay? No, you're not going through this because of God. No, you're not going through this because you did anything wrong. It is circumstances. Could it be consequences to what you did or what your past is? Sure. But at the same time, it wasn't your fault, okay? So don't let people tell you, well, if you wouldn't have done this, no, tell them they need to stop, because we all pick our poison and there's nobody here that is perfect, okay? And I will tell you that my faith is the reason I'm still here today. I did post a video on that. It was like my first or second, so feel free to watch that. But again, that's what these videos are for encouragement. If there is a piece of technology out there that helps with chronic pain patients and I know anything about it, I'll give you my experience, but that's it. And I don't want anyone to base their decision on my experience, but it's just usually for informational purposes so that the next person in line can know what questions to ask. So again, you have a purpose, but you also have to create it, okay? If you feel that tug, if you are a believer and you feel that tug, answer to it. Because I will tell you that, I don't want to make the video much longer, but I will tell you that in part of my experience where I did answer, to a tug, in my story, the largest or one of the largest groups in the Christian music industry became a part of my story. And that is something I will never forget. I won't state the person's name or not the person, but the group's name because of how public this was. But I wanted to get my message out. And through how I responded to spam, I was able to get into contact with the manager, and they shared my story with the group. It meant so much to me. My family did get to go to the concert, and the interesting thing on this, and see, this can't happen if you don't get out, we were in the handicap line because I do have to have my electric cart because I cannot walk very long distances. Like going just to my neighbor's house is hard for me. So we were actually in line at the handicap level, or at the handicap line, so we could use the back door for the elevators that are meant for the equipment and the performers. Well, in this line was another man who was having a hard time standing. So I decided to try to distract him. And I started to give him my cart, but I knew that was going to make the night harder for me. And already I didn't sleep the night before, but I just could not miss this opportunity. Well, when we got in the concert, there were 3 people that were performing, or 3 groups. And the second group that came out noticed a man who was taken the power or had the courage to stand without the use of his tools. And I don't remember if it was a walker or a cane. And the main artist of the song of this group did point him out to the crowd, noticed the courage, and gave him the opportunity to come up, get a congregational prayer and a picture with him on the stage. And, let that man, if he could, get on the stage. And I was literally flowing with tears. I really was, because he picked out a man suffering from chronic pain. And that was part of my request, was to, help the chronic pain patient. Right then and there, I knew that they had gotten my message and they were responding. And the funny thing is, we only stayed for 2 or 3 songs of the group that we went to see. And that guy that did that was not the group. So again, if you don't get out, experiences like that can't happen. It is hard. It really is. But find that purpose, okay? Find that purpose. And before you know it, you're going to become the miracle for somebody. So you guys have a good night. And if it is a rough night for you, that's what these videos are for, to help that person get through, okay? I hope you have a good, painless night, or as low of pain as you possibly can.